Bernie! Hello, Donald H. I have to finish up mowing, but we'll eat the stream. Go until I get in from mowing. Hi, Donna Bernie. Also going to open my package tonight sometime. Oh, no problem. All right, Bernie, so you got your package. Cool. You doing videos or stuff yet? Probably not. And by the way, hopefully you noticed the title of today's stream. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my 66th birthday. Yep, 66. I'm 66 years young today. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Not yet. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. One of these days, we'll get you convinced and get you started in on sharing your stuff that you get in the mail. It's fun. That's what I like to do. That's what I like to do. Alright. So let me get things up and running here. I'm waiting for my other computer to cooperate with me. At least I got on time. Bernie was in, I don't know exactly the time. I don't see the timestamp yet. Happy double sixes, Don. Thanks there, Mark. Appreciate it. Let's see. Where are we here? What am I doing? Oh, I gotta do a refresh here. Make sure it'll show up now. And then I can get the chat coming up. And get our 5-minute warning. We're going to have fun today. You can probably see the title of the stream. Hall of Fame Bios. Episode 266. Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth followed by... Well, we'll do the baseball trivia first. I don't know why I put it. It's just, it looks better for the title. Saying what the main content is for the episode that we're on. But it is Hall of Fame Bios, episode 266, Babe Ruth, baseball trivia, and it's my 66th birthday. I almost put on there, it's my 66th birthday celebration. But then I was thinking, wait a minute, I wish I had something ready for a sale, because I could have did a celebration. I could do a celebration, but you guys would have to be willing to do that. I mean, I could, but I don't have as many followers as like Ethan and Jabs and the Jams brothers, Eric Jabs and John Jabs. That's why it's harder for me to do sales when I only get like a handful of people that you can count on one hand. But yeah, that's where we stand right now. Oh, let me get this loaded up first and then go back to the live feed. Alright, so let me see. Let me scooch this over a little bit more so I can put this right here. The Babe Ruth placard. Alright. Time to mow. Alright, Bernie, we'll see you later. We'll probably still be doing this humongous biography. Of course, everybody knows George Herman Babe Ruth. Everybody knows Babe Ruth. Happy birthday, Donald. I will send you something when I send my next package to you at the end of the month. Oh, no problem, Bernie. Trust me. I don't expect anything, but we will have fun nonetheless. So 2 o'clock, so at 2:05, which is now, we gotta end the early bird entries. We will have 2, or not 1, we got 1. One's a baseball humor. We're going to do a baseball humor first. And God is great's in the house. Don't worry there, God is great. We will get you included in the early birds because you did get here and it still does say 2:05 for your timestamp. Okay, so without further ado, because we have a huge biography to do today. I'm going to get the ball rolling here. Okay, that is old. We are on the 9th of July, my 66th birthday. So hopefully everybody is having a good day. Yeah, kind of looks like a teaser up here, like we've got some fireworks coming up. We might have some fireworks coming up. No, here's the fireworks. Celebrate good times. Come on. 2015. That's when me, my wife, our daughter, and our son went to Disney World. Our son kind of met us down there and stuff. It was fun. It was fun. So let's go through now and get who we've got in here for the early birds. We've got Bernie. Bernie's here with the 2+. Okay. And then we've got Big Ray's here with a 2+. Okay. Bernie, Big Ray, Bernie, crossover. Cops is in the house. Thanks, John, for your happy birthday wishes this morning. You were the first one today of many that came in for me. Appreciate that. Crossover paranormal. Big Ray, God is Great's in the house. God is Great is in the house. 2+. Okay, and then we got God is Great and Big Ray. Chuck, I'm still going to squeeze you in here too, since you were right on the border there. I'm feeling generous on my birthday today. Alright, so there we go. Alright, thank you guys very, very much. Appreciate that. We've got 2 thummies up. We've got 6 people viewing. We should have at least 6 thumbs up. Come on, thummies up for me. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to not waste any time. We do have a baseball humor, and then we will have, I think, 1 trivia worth 5 points. Yes, 1 trivia question worth 5 points. But our baseball humor for yesterday, Monday, July 8th, 2024, the baseball birthdays for yesterday are Terry Puhl, P-U-H-L, Alan Ashby, Al Spangler, and Clint Brown. But here is our 7 points of baseball humor. Okay? The baseball humor is as follows. Number 1 is no profanity. Number 2 is nothing purely personal. Number 3, keep pouring it on. Number 4, know your players. Number 5, don't be shouted down. Number 6, take it as well as give it. And number 7, I like this one best, give the old-timer a chance. He was a rookie once. I would say when I started this show, I was definitely a rookie. If you go back and watch some of my early videos, you'll see how unseasoned I was, and through the years, I've improved some, I believe. But I will let you all be the judge if you watch some of my older videos. And then we'll know if I am improved or not. Okay? But these baseball humor quotes were from Pete Adelis, the Iron Lung of Shag Park, one of the most famous risers in the history of the game, from his Rules of Scientific Heckling, published in Sporting News in 1948. Okay, so that was our baseball humor. Sorry, I can't see what I'm doing for sure. That was our baseball humor for yesterday, Monday, July 8th. So next up to bat, we have team history. And pay close attention to the birthdays when I read them off to you. and see if you know somebody that's in the birthday list, okay? So, for Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, the baseball birthdays for today are Willie Wilson. Yep, Sun Tim Wong yesterday. At church, we're currently going through the Psalms, and it's titled Attitude with Gratitude. Also seeing the children's choir video you posted reminded me of the Psalms because they are basically hymns. Oh yeah, yes they are. Thanks there, Mark. Alright, so yeah, we did yesterday's, now we're doing today's. So the baseball birthdays for today, July 9th, 2024, are Willie Wilson, Hector Lopez, Wally Post, and Mike Andrews. Usually there's only 4 baseball birthdays on the calendar, but this one today, I don't know, it has 5 people. And the 5th one is Dom Blondal, me. Imagine that. I'll show you the calendar when we're done. But let's do the trivia real quick so we can get that done and get into the long but worthwhile for waiting for Babe Ruth. We'll be doing his bio today. Alright? So, team history. How many Padres? Where's Kevin when you need him? Where's Kevin when you need him? How many Padres have led the league in home runs? Is it A, none, B, 1, C, 2, or D, 3? Okay? There is one correct answer, and you will get 5 points if you get it correct. How many Padres have led the league in home runs? A, none, B, 1, C, 2, or D, 3? So how many Padres? You don't necessarily have to name them, but how many? None, 1, 2, or 3? You can answer it either way. None, 1, 2, or 3, or A, none, B, 1, C, 2, and D, 3. Boom! Big Ray got that one right with C, 2. There are 2 Padres. 2 Padres that led the league in home runs. So here's the answers here. Oh, here's the baseball birthdays in case you're wondering. Okay. Willie Wilson, Hector Lopez, Wally Post, Mike Andrews, and some guy named Dom Blondal. I think he's like always in the running for the YouTube baseball channel Hall of Fame. One of these days, maybe I'll make the Hall of Fame for baseball on YouTube. Alright, so how many Padres have led the league in home runs? The answer is 2. And let's list them off here. Fred McGriff led the senior circuit with 35 home runs in 1993. Crime Dog. Alright. He had led the league with 36 for Toronto in 1989. He finished his career in 2004 with 493 home runs, tying Lou Gehrig. And then Fernando Tatis Jr., the Padres' 22-year-old shortstop, led the league with 42 in 2021. So there you go. That's our trivia for team history. And Big Ray, you got the 5 points, brother. You got the 5 points, Big Ray, for today's trivia. Alright, let me get that plus on the end here. And we will put this off to the side, and then of course you'll see the cover of my Babe Ruth binder we're going to share today. There's my Babe Ruth binder. Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side. We'll bring it out for the 2-minute warning at the end of the show for the end of show entries. I'm currently still planning on doing a WhattNot auction. I might start a little bit earlier. We might start at 4 o'clock, but I'll see. I'll see. Alright, so let me... There we go. Let me get that off for now. So we will be doing that, but we will be doing Babe Ruth's biography today. The Babe Ruth story. I'll take this out of the front of the cover. This is a little booklet that was 25 cents back in the day. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if it was Left Behind Times or somebody back a couple years back gave me this, and I said that would be a good cover for my Babe Ruth binder. We'll pull that out and go through that real quick, and then I'll go into... So just so you do know, this complete binder is my Babe Ruth binder. And I do have baseball heroes on the back here. Red Schoendienst and Hank Aaron. Willie Mays, Duke Snyder. So this is a baseball heroes 25-cent booklet, along with this Babe Ruth story 25-cent booklet back in the day. Can you imagine getting a booklet like that back in the day for 25 cents? I don't know what that's something on the plastic cover here, yeah. But Babe Ruth, George Herman Babe Ruth, played for Boston, New York in the American League, Boston in the National League, and he played ball from 1914 to 1935. The greatest drawing card in history of baseball. Holder of many home run and other batting records, gathered 714 home runs in addition to 15 in the World Series. So this is our big Hall of Famer for the week. And you'll never guess who's going to be tomorrow. Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan will be tomorrow. Again, I'm just going through alphabetically, and we're getting ready soon to finish up the R's and move into the S's in our list. Okay? So without further ado, we will get into Babe Ruth's biography here. Let me get a sip of water real quick here, and then we'll get rolling as quick as we can on this one. How warm is it in you guys' neck of the woods? Oh, finally made it. It was 88 when I started the show. Now I look at it says it's 90 outside. I'm glad we have air conditioning in our bedroom when we sleep at night. Last night was a supremely well night's rest. So Babe Ruth, okay? George Herman Babe Ruth was born February 6, 1895, and passed away on August the 16th, 1948. He was an American professional baseball player whose career in Major League spanned 22 seasons. From 1914 to 1935, he was nicknamed the Bambino and the Sultan of SWAT. He began his MLB career as a star-studded left-handed pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, but achieved his greatest fame as slugging outfielder for the New York Yankees. Ruth is regarded as one of the greatest sports heroes in American culture, and is considered by many to be the greatest baseball player of all time. In 1936, Ruth was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame as one of its first 5 inaugural members. At age 7, Ruth was sent to St. Mary's Industrial School for Boys, a reformatory where he was mentioned by Brother Matthias Boutelier of the Xaverian Brothers, the school's disciplinarian and a capable baseball player. In 1914, Ruth was signed to play minor league baseball for the Baltimore Orioles, but was soon sold to the Red Sox. By 1916, he had built a reputation as an outstanding pitcher who sometimes hit long home runs, a feat unusual for any player in the dead ball era. Although Ruth twice won 23 games in a season as a pitcher and was a member of 3 World Series championship teams with the Red Sox, he wanted to play every day and was allowed to convert to an outfielder with regular playing time. He broke the MLB single season home run record in 1919 with 29. After that season, the Red Sox owner, Harry Frazee, sold Ruth to the Yankees amid controversy. The trade fueled Boston's subsequent 86-year championship drought and popularized the curse of the Bambino superstition. In his 15 years with the Yankees, Ruth helped the team win 7 American League pennants and 4 World Series championships. His big swing led to escalating home runs that not only drew fans to the ballpark and boosted the sport's popularity, but also helped usher in baseball's live ball era, which evolved from a low-scoring game of strategy to a sport where the home run was a major factor. As part of the Yankees' vaunted Murderers Row lineup of 1927, Ruth hit 60 home runs, which extended his own MLB season record by a single home run. Ruth's last season with the Yankees was 1934, and he retired from the game the following year after a short stint with the Boston Braves. In his career, he led the American League in home runs 12 times. During Ruth's career, he was the target of intense press and public attention for his baseball exploits and off-field penchants for drinking and womanizing. After his retirement as a player, he was denied the opportunity to manage a major league club, most likely because of poor behavior during parts of his playing career. In his final years, Ruth made many public appearances, especially in support of American efforts in World War II. In 1946, he became ill with nasopharyngeal cancer and died from the disease 2 years later. Ruth remains a major figure in American culture. As far as his early years, George Herman Ruth was born on February 6, 1895 at 216 Emery Street in Pigtown section of Baltimore, in a house which belonged to his maternal grandfather, Pius Schomburger, a German immigrant and trade unionist. Ruth's parents, Catherine Nee Schomburger and George Herman Ruth Sr., were both of German ancestry. According to the 1880 census, his parents were both born in Maryland. His paternal parents were from Prussia and Hanover, Germany. Ruth Sr. worked a series of jobs that included lightning rod salesman and streetcar operator. The elder Ruth then became a counterman in a family-owned combination grocery saloon business in Frederick Street. Only one of young Ruth's 7 siblings, his younger sister Mamie, survived infancy. Many details of Ruth's childhood are unknown, including the date of his parents' marriage. As a child, Ruth spoke German. When Ruth was a toddler, the family moved to 339 South Woodyear Street, not far from the rail yards. By the time he was 6 years old, his father had a saloon with an upstairs apartment at 426 West Camden Street. Details are equally scanty about why Ruth was sent at the age of 7 to St. Mary's Industrial School for Boys, a reformatory and orphanage. However, according to Julia Ruth Stevens' recount of 1999, because George Sr. was a saloon owner in Baltimore and had given Ruth little supervision growing up, he became a delinquent. Ruth was sent to St. Mary's because George Sr. ran out of ideals to discipline and mentor his son. As an adult, Ruth admitted that as a youth he ran the streets, rarely attended school, and drank beer when his father was not looking. Some accounts say that following the violent incident at his father's saloon, the city authorities decided that this environment was unsuitable for a small child. Ruth entered St. Mary's on June 13, 1902, and he was recorded as incorrigible, and spent much of the next 12 years there. Although St. Mary's boys received an education, students were also expected to learn work skills and help operate the school. Particularly once the boys turned 12, Ruth became a shirt maker and was also proficient as a carpenter. He would adjust his own shirt collars rather than having a tailor do so. Even during his well-paid baseball career, the boys, aged 5 to 21, did most of the work around the facility, from cooking to shoemaking, and renovated St. Mary's in 1912. The food was simple, and the Xavier and brothers, who ran the school, insisted on strict discipline. Corporal punishment was common. Ruth's nickname there was Nigger Lips, as he had large facial features and was darker than most boys at the all-white reformatory. Ruth was sometimes allowed to rejoin his family or was placed at St. James' Home, a supervised residence with work in the community, but he was always returned to St. Mary's. He was rarely visited by his family. His mother died when he was 12, and by some accounts, he was permitted to leave St. Mary's only to attend the funeral. How Ruth came to play baseball, there is uncertainty. According to one account, his placement at St. Mary's was due in part to repeatedly breaking Baltimore's windows with long hits while playing street ball. By another, he was told to join a team on his first day at St. Mary's by the school's athletic director. Brother Herman becoming a catcher, even though left fielders rarely play that position. During the time, he also played third base and shortstop, again unusual for a left-hander, and was forced to wear mitts and gloves made for right-handers. He was encouraged in his pursuits by the school's prefect of discipline, Brother Matthias Boltier, a native of Nova Scotia, a large man. Brother Matthias was greatly respected by the boys for both his strength and for his fairness. For the rest of his life, Ruth would praise Brother Matthias, and his running and hitting styles closely resembled his teacher's. Ruth stated, "I think I was born a hitter the first day I ever saw him hit a baseball." The older man became a mentor and role model to Ruth. Biographer W. Kremer also commented on the closeness between the two. Hey, let me take a sip of water. I knew this week was going to be bearable. It's supposed to be in the low 90s all week. The school's influence remained with Ruth in other ways. He was a lifelong Catholic who would sometimes attend Mass after carousing all night, and he became a well-known member of the Knights of Columbus. He would visit orphanages, schools, and hospitals throughout his life, often avoiding publicity. He was generous to St. Mary's as he became famous and rich, donating money in his presence at fundraisers and spending $5,000 to buy Brother Matthias a Cadillac in 1926, subsequently replacing it when it was destroyed in an accident. Nevertheless, his biographer, Lee Montville, suggested that many of the off-field excesses of Ruth's career were driven by the deprivations of his time at St. Mary's. Most of the boys at St. Mary's played baseball in organized leagues at different levels of proficiency. Ruth later estimated that he played 200 games a year as he steadily climbed the ladder of success. Although he played all positions in one time or another, he gained stardom as a pitcher. According to brother Matthias, Ruth was standing to one side laughing at the bumbling pitching efforts of fellow students, and Matthias told him to go in and see if he could do better. Ruth had become the best pitcher at St. Mary's, and when he was 18, in 1913, he was allowed to leave the premises to play weekend games on teams that were drawn from the community. He was mentioned in several newspaper articles for both his pitching prowess and ability to hit long home run balls. As far as his professional baseball career, minor leagues with the Baltimore Orioles. In early 1914, Ruth signed a professional baseball contract with Jack Dunn, who owned and managed the minor league Baltimore Orioles, an international league team. The circumstances of Ruth's signing are not known with certainty, but some accounts Dunn was urged to attend a game between an all-star team from St. Mary's and one from another Xaverian facility, Mount St. Mary's College. Some versions have Ruth running away before the eagerly awaited game to return in time to be punished, and then pitching St. Mary's to victory as Dunn watched. Others have Washington Senators pitcher Joe Engel at Mount St. Mary's graduate pitching in an alumni game, after which a preliminary contest between the college's freshmen and a team from St. Mary's, including Ruth. Engel watched Ruth play and told Dunn about him at a chance meeting in Washington. Ruth, in his autobiography, stated that he worked out for Dunn for a half hour and was signed. According to biographer Cal Wegenheim, there were legal difficulties to be straightened out, as Ruth was supposed to remain at the school until he turned 21. Though Sports Century stated in a documentary that Ruth had already been discharged from St. Mary's when he turned 19 and earned a monthly salary of $100. Can you believe that back in the day? $100. The train journey to spring training in Fayetteville, North Carolina in early March was likely Ruth's first outside of the Baltimore area. The rookie ball player was the subject of various pranks by veteran players, who were probably also the source of his famous nickname. There are various accounts of how Ruth came to be called Babe, but most center on him being referred to as Donnie's Babe or some variant. Sports Century reported that his nickname was gained because he was also the new darling or project of Dunn, not only because of Ruth's raw talent, but also because of his lack of knowledge of the proper etiquette of eating out in a restaurant, being in a hotel, or being on a train. Babe was, at the time, a common nickname in baseball, with perhaps the most famous to that point being Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher in 1909 World Series, here Babe Adams, who appeared younger than his actual age. Ruth made his first appearance as a professional ball player in an inter-squad game on March 7, 1914. He played shortstop and pitched the last two innings of a 15-9 victory. In his second at-bat, Ruth hit a long home run to right field. The blast was locally reported to be longer than the legendary shot by Jim Thorpe in Fayetteville. Ruth made his first appearance against a team in organized baseball in an exhibition game versus the Major League Philadelphia Phillies. Ruth pitched the middle three innings and gave up 2 runs in the fourth, but then settled down and pitched a scoreless fifth and sixth inning. In a game against the Phillies the following afternoon, Ruth entered during the 6th inning and did not allow a run the rest of the way. The Orioles scored 7 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to overcome a 6-0 deficit, and Ruth was the winning pitcher. Once the regular season began, Ruth was a star pitcher who was also dangerous at the plate. The team performed well, yet received almost no attention from the Baltimore press. A third Major League Federal League had begun play, and the local franchise, the Baltimore Terrapins, restored that city to the major leagues for the first time since 1902. Fans visited Oriole Park, where Ruth and his teammates labored in relative obscurity. Ruth may have been offered a bonus and a larger salary to jump up the Terrapins. When rumors to that effect swept Baltimore, giving Ruth the most publicity he had experienced to date, the Terrapins official denied it, stating that it was their policy not to sign players under contract to Dunn. The competition from Terrapins caused Dunn to sustain large losses, although by late June the Orioles were in first place, having won over 2/3 of their games. The paid attendance dropped as low as 150. Dunn explored a possible move by the Orioles to Richmond, Virginia, as well as the sale of minority interest in the club. These possibilities fell through, leaving Dunn with little choice other than to sell his players to major league teams to raise money. Then we move on to the Boston Red Sox in 1914 to 1919. A developing star on July 11, 1914. Ruth arrived in Boston with Egan and Shore. Ruth later told the story of how that morning he had met Helen Woodford, who would become his first wife. She was a 16-year-old waitress at Lander's coffee shop, and Ruth related that she served him when he had breakfast there. Other stories, though, suggest that the meeting occurred on another day, and perhaps under other circumstances. Regardless of when he became to court his first wife, he won his first game as a pitcher for the Red Sox that afternoon, 4-3, over the Cleveland Naps. His catcher was Bill Corrigan, who was also the Red Sox manager. Shore was given a start by Corrigan the next day. He won that and his second start, and thereafter was pitched regularly. Ruth lost his second start and was thereafter little used. In his Major League Baseball debut as a batter, Ruth went 0-2 against left-hander Willie Mitchell, striking out in his first at-bat before being removed for a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. Ruth was not much noticed by the fans. As Bostonians watched the Red Sox crosstown rivals, the Braves, begin a legendary comeback that would take them from last place on the 4th of July to 1914. Legendary comeback that would take them from last place on July 4th to the 1914 World Series championship. Egan was traded to Cleveland after 2 weeks on the Boston roster. During this time with the Red Sox, he kept an eye on the inexperienced Ruth, much as Dunn had in Baltimore. When he was traded, no one took his place as supervisor. Ruth's new teammates considered him brash and would have preferred him as a rookie to remain quiet and inconspicuous. Okay, nobody chatting anything yet that I can see. Faith, Family, and Sports is here. How you doing, Aaron? Happy 9th of July to you and your family. Seen you guys' last Facebook posts and stuff. It looks like you guys had a blast. Okay, manager Kerrigan allowed Ruth to pitch in 2 exhibition games in mid-August. Although Ruth won both against minor league competition, he was not restored to the pitching rotation. It is uncertain why Kerrigan did not give Ruth additional opportunities to pitch. There are legends filmed for the screen in The Babe Ruth Story in 1948. That the young pitcher had a habit of signaling his intent to throw a curveball by sticking out his tongue slightly, and that he was easy to hit until this changed. Kramer pointed out that it is common for inexperienced pitchers to display such habits, and the need to break Ruth of it would not constitute a reason to not use them at all. The biographer suggested that Kerrigan was unwilling to use Ruth because of the rookie's poor behavior. On July 30th, 1914, Boston owner Joseph Lennon had purchased the minor league Providence Grays, members of the International League. The Providence team had been owned by several people associated with the Detroit Tigers, including star hitter Ty Cobb. As part of the transaction, a Providence pitcher was sent to the Tigers to soothe Providence fans upset at losing a star. Lennon announced that the Red Sox would soon send a replacement to the Grays. This was intended to be Ruth, but his departure for Providence was delayed when Cincinnati Reds owner Gary Herman claimed him off of waivers. After Lennon wrote to Herman explaining that the Red Sox wanted Ruth in Providence so he could develop as a player and would not release him to a major league club, Herman allowed Ruth to be sent to the minors. Kerrigan later stated that Ruth was not sent down to Providence to make him a better player, but to help give the Grays win the International League Pennant League Championship. Ruth joined the Grays on August the 18th, 1914, after Dunn's deals. The Baltimore Orioles managed to hold on to first place until August the 15th, after which they continued to fade, leaving the pennant race between Providence and Rochester. Ruth was deeply impressed by Providence manager Wild Bill Donovan, previously a star pitcher with a 25 wins, 4-loss record for Detroit in 1907. In latter years, he credited Donovan with teaching him much about pitching. Ruth was often called upon to pitch in one stretch, starting and winning 4 games and his first professional home run, his only one as a major leaguer, off Ellis Johnson, recalled to Boston after Providence finished the season in first place. He pitched and won a game for the Red Sox against the New York Yankees on October 2nd, getting his first major league hit, a double. Ruth finished the season with a 2-1 record as a major leaguer and 23-8 in the International League for Baltimore and Providence. Once the season concluded, Ruth married Helen in Ellicott City, Maryland. Kramer speculated that they did not marry in Baltimore, where the newlyweds boarded with George Ruth Sr. to avoid possible interference from those at St. Mary's. Both bride and groom were not yet of age, and Ruth remained on parole from that institution until his 21st birthday. Get a sip of water here real quick. Tim Wong. He says, "Happy birthday, Donald." Thanks there, Aaron. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your support, my Patreon. All right. Hopefully, did you get my package already, Aaron? I sent some bonus stuff in there. Hope you enjoyed it. And some oddball packs. I got them sent to me from somebody, and I'm like, he might enjoy sharing those with your family. I know. I think one of them was already open, so I don't even. But I don't collect none of that stuff. I figured maybe your youngins would like it. That's why I figured I sent it to you. All right. So Kerrigan was sufficiently impressed by Ruth's pitching to give him a spot in the starting rotation. Ruth finished the 1915 season 18-8 as a pitcher. As a hitter, he batted .315 and had 4 home runs. The Red Sox won the American League pennant, but the pitching staff healthy. Ruth was not called upon to pitch in the 1915 World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. Boston won in 5 games. Ruth was used as a pinch hitter in Game 5, but grounded out against the Phillies ace Grover Cleveland Alexander. Despite his success as a pitcher, Ruth was acquiring a reputation for long home runs at Sportsman's Park against the St. Louis Browns. A Ruth hit soared over Grand Avenue, breaking the window of a Chevrolet dealership. Oh my word. A window of a Chevrolet dealership. Some of those windows can be pretty big. In 1916, attention focused on Ruth's pitching as he engaged in repeated pitching duels with the Washington Senators ace Walter Johnson. The two met 5 times during the season, with Ruth winning 4 and Johnson 1. Ruth had a no decision in Johnson's victory. 2 of Ruth's victories were by the score of 1-0, one in a 13th inning game. Games I have ever seen. For the season, Ruth went 23-12 with a 1.75 ERA and 9 shutouts, both of which he led the league. Ruth's 9 shutouts in 1916 set a league record for left-handers that would remain unmatched until Ron Guidry tied it in 1978. The Red Sox won the pennant, the World Series again, this time defeating the Brooklyn Robins, as the Dodgers were then known, in 5 games. Ruth started and won Game 2, 2-1 in 14 innings, until another game of that length was played in 2005, and it was the longest World Series game. Ruth's pitching performance is still the longest postseason complete game victory. As far as an emergence as a hitter, Ruth went 24-13 with a 2.01 ERA and 6 shutouts in 1917, but the Sox finished in second place with the league, 9 games behind Chicago White Sox. In the standings on June 23rd at Washington, when home plate umpire Brick Owens called the first 4 pitches as balls. Ruth was ejected from the game and threw a punch at him, and was later suspended for 10 days and fined $100. Ernie Shore was called in to relieve Ruth, and was allowed 8 warm-up pitches. The runner who had reached base on the walk was caught stealing, and Shore retired all 26 batters he faced. Ruth was used little as a batter, other than for his plate appearance while pitching, and hit .325 with 2 home runs. The United States entry into World War I occurred at the start of the season and overshadowed baseball. Conscription was introduced in September of 1917, and most baseball players in the big leagues were of draft age. This included Barry, who was a player-manager who joined the Naval Reserve in an attempt to avoid the draft, only to be called up after the 1917 season. Frazee hired International League president Ed Barrow as Red Sox manager. Barrow had spent the previous 30 years in a variety of baseball jobs. Though he never played the game professionally, with major leagues shorthanded Because of the war, Barrow and many holes in the Red Sox lineup to fill. Ruth also noticed that these vacancies in the lineup, he was dissatisfied. Although Barrow predicted that Ruth would beg to return to pitching the first time he experienced a batting slump, that did not occur. Barrow used Ruth primarily as an outfielder in the war-shortened 1918 season. Ruth hit .300 with 11 home runs, enough to secure him a share of the Major League home run title with Tilly Walker of the Philadelphia Athletics. He was still occasionally used as a pitcher and had a 13-7 record with a 2.22 ERA. Happy birthday, Don, or in Japanese, Otanajobi omedetou gozaimasu. Attaboy, babe. Thanks there, Titus. Appreciate you, brother. Alright. With the World Series over, Ruth gained exemption from the war draft by accepting a normal position with the Pennsylvania Steel Mill. Many industrial establishments took pride in their baseball teams and sought to hire major leaguers. The end of the war in November set Ruth free to play baseball without such controversies. During the 1919 season, Ruth was used as a pitcher in only 17 of his 130 games and compiled a 9-5 record. Barrow used him as a pitcher mostly in the early part of the season, when the Red Sox manager still had hopes of a second consecutive pennant. By late June, the Red Sox were clearly out of the race, and Barrow had no objection to Ruth concentrating on his hitting, if only because he drew people to the ballpark. Ruth had hit a home run against the Yankees on opening day, and another during a month-long batting slump that soon followed. Relieved of his pitching duties, Ruth began an unprecedented spell of slugging home runs, which gave him widespread public and press attention. Even his failures were seen as majestic. One sports writer said, "When Ruth misses a swipe at the ball, the stands quiver." As far as his sale to New York as an out-of-towner from New York City, Frazee he won them over with success on the field and a willingness to build the Red Sox by purchasing or trading for players. He offered the Senators $60,000 for Walter Johnson, but Washington owner Clark Griffith was unwilling. Even so, Frazee was successful in bringing other players to Boston, especially as replacements for players in the military. This willingness to spend for players helped the Red Sox secure the 1918 title. The 1919 season saw record-breaking attendance, and Ruth's home runs for Boston made him a national sensation. In March of 1919, Ruth was reported as having accepted a 3-year contract for a total of $27,000 after protracted negotiations. Nevertheless, on December 26, 1919, Frazee sold Ruth's contract to the New York Yankees. According to one of Ruth's biographers, Jim Reisler, why Frazee needed cash in 1919, large infusions of it quickly, is still more than 80 years later a bit of a mystery. The often told story is that Frazee needed money to finance the musical No, No, Nanette, which was a Broadway hit and brought Frazee financial security. That play did not open until 1925, however, by which time Frazee sold the Red Sox. Still, the story may be true in essence. No, No, Nanette was based on Frazee produced play My Lady Friends, which opened in 1919. As far as the New York Yankees in 1920 to 1934, the initial success in 1920 to 23, when Ruth signed with the Yankees, his transition from a pitcher to a power-hitting outfielder was complete. His 15-season Yankee career consisted of over 2,000 games, and Ruth broke many batting records while making only 5 widely scattered appearances on the mound, winning them all. Alright. Batting title and bellyache. In 1924, the Yankees were favored to become the first team to win 4 consecutive pennants. Plagued by injuries, they found themselves in a battle with the Senators. Although the Yankees won 18 of 22 at one point in September, the Senators beat out the Yankees by 2 games. Ruth hit .378, winning his only American League batting title with a league-leading 46 home runs. Murderers Row, 1926 to 1928. Ruth spent part of the off-season in 1925 to 1926 working out with Artie McGovern's gym, where he got back into shape. Barrow and Huggins had rebuilt the team and surrounded the veteran core with good young players like Tony Lazzeri, Lou Gehrig, but the Yankees were not expected to win the pennant. Ruth returned to his normal production during 1926 when he batted .372 with 47 home runs and 146 RBIs. Although the Yankees won the opener in New York, St. Louis took games 2 and 3. In game 4, Ruth hit 3 home runs, the first time this had been done in a World Series game, to lead the Yankees to victory. In the 5th game, Ruth caught a ball as he crashed into the fence. The play was described by baseball writers as a defensive gem. New York took that game, but Grover Cleveland Alexander won Game 6 for the St. Louis to tie the series at 3 games each, then got very drunk. He was nevertheless inserted into the game 7 in the 7th inning and shut down the Yankees to win the game 3-2 and to win the series. Ruth had his 4th home run of the series earlier in the game and was the only Yankee to reach base off Alexander, and he walked in the 9th inning before being thrown out to end the game when he attempted to steal second base. Although Ruth's attempt to steal second is often deemed a base-running blunder, Creamer pointed out that the Yankees' chance of tying the game would have been generally improved with a runner in scoring position. The 1926 World Series was also known for Ruth's promise to Johnny Sylvester, a hospitalized 11-year-old boy. Ruth promised the child that he would hit a home run on his behalf. Sylvester had been injured in a fall from a horse, and a friend of Sylvester's father gave the boy 2 autographed baseballs signed by Yankees and Cardinals. A friend relayed a promise from Ruth, who did not know the boy, that he would hit a home run for him. After the series, Ruth visited the boy in the hospital. When the matter became public, the press greatly inflated it, and by some accounts, Ruth allegedly saved the boy's life by visiting him, emotionally promising to hit a home run and doing so. Ruth's 1926 salary of $52,000 was far more than any other baseball player. But he made at least twice as much in other income, including $100,000 from 12 weeks of vaudeville. The call, shot, and final Yankee years in 1929 to 34. Before the 1929 season, Rupert, who had bought out Houston's in 1923, announced that the Yankees would wear uniform numbers to allow fans a cavernous Yankee Stadium to easily identify the players. The Cardinals and Indians each had experimented with the uniform numbers, and the Yankees were the first to use them on both home and away uniforms. Ruth batted third and was given number 3. According to a long-standing baseball legend, the Yankees adopted their now ionic pinstripe uniforms in hopes of making Ruth look slimmer. In truth, though, they had been wearing pinstripes since 1915. Although the Yankees started well, the Athletics soon proved that they were a better team in 1929, splitting the series with the Yankees in the first. On October 17th, the Yankees hired Bob Shockey as manager, and he was their 4th choice. Ruth had Potling for the job of player manager, but Rupert and Barrow never seriously considered him for the position. Stout deemed this the first hint Ruth would have no future with the Yankees once he retired as a player. Shockey informed Yankees player and teammate Ruth would prove unable to command Ruth's respect. On January the 30th, salary negotiations between the Yankees and Ruth quickly broke down, having just concluded a 3-year contract at a annual salary of $70,000. Ruth promptly rejected the Yankees' proposal of $70,000 for 1 year and their final offer of the 2 years at $75,000. The latter figures equaling the annual salary of the U.S. President Herbert Hoover. Instead, Ruth demanded at least $85,000 in 3 years. When they asked why he thought he was worth more than the President of the United States, Ruth responded, "Say, if I hadn't been sick last summer, I'd have broken hell out of that home run record. Besides, the President gets a 4-year contract. I'm only asking for 3. Exactly 2 months later, a compromise was reached, with Ruth settling for 2 years and an unprecedented $80,000 per year. Ruth's salary was more than 2.4 times greater than the next highest salary that season, a record margin as of 2019. In 1930, Ruth hit .359 with 49 home runs, his best in his years after 1928, and 153 RBIs, and pitched his first game in 9 years, a complete game victory. Nevertheless, the Athletics won their second consecutive pennant and World Series as the Yankees finished in 3rd place, 16 games back. At the end of the season, Shockey was fired and replaced with Cubs manager Joe McCarthy, though Ruth again unsuccessfully sought the job. McCarthy was a disciplinarian, but chose not to interfere with Ruth, who did not seek conflict with the manager. The team improved in 1931, but was no match for the Athletics, who won 107 games and 13.5 games in front of the Yankees. Ruth, for his part, hit .373 with 46 home runs and 163 RBIs. He had 31 doubles, his most since 1924. In 1932 season, the Yankees went 107-47 and won the pennant. Ruth's effectiveness had decreased somewhat, but he still hit .341 with 41 home runs and 137 RBIs. Nevertheless, he was sidelined twice because of injuries during the season. The Yankees faced the Cubs, McCarthy's former team, in 1932 World Series. There was bad blood between the two teams as the Yankees resented the Cubs, only awarding half a World Series share to Mark Cohn, a former Yankee. The games at Yankee Stadium had not been sellouts. Both were won by the home team, with Ruth collecting 2 singles but scoring 4 runs, as he was walked 4 times by the Cubs pitchers. In Chicago, Ruth was resentful at the hostile crowds that met the Yankees train and jeered them at the hotel. The crowd for Game 3 included New York Governor Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the Democratic candidate for the president, who sat with Chicago Mayor Anton Cermak. Many in the crowd threw lemons at Ruth, a sign of derision, and others, as well as the Cubs themselves, shouted abuse at Ruth and other Yankees. They were briefly silenced when Ruth hit a 3-run home run off Charlie Root in the first inning, but soon revived, and the Cubs tied the score at 4-4 in the fourth inning, partly due to Ruth's fielding error in the outfield. When Ruth came to the plate in the top of the fifth, the Chicago crowd and players, led by pitcher Guy Bush, were screaming insults at Ruth. With the count at 2 balls and 1 strike, Ruth gestured possibly in the direction of center field, and after the next pitch, a strike, may have pointed there with one hand. Ruth hit the 5th pitch over the center field fence. Estimates were that it had traveled nearly 500 feet. Whether or not Ruth intended to indicate where he planned to, and did, hit the ball, Charlie Devens, who in 1999 was interviewed as Ruth's surviving teammate in that game, did not think so. The incident has gone down in legend as baseball Ruth's called shot. The Yankees won the Game 3 and the following day clinched the series with another victory. During that game, Bush hit Ruth on the arm with a pitch, causing words to be exchanged and provoking a game-winning Yankee rally. Ruth remained productive in 1933. He batted .301 with 34 home runs, 103 RBIs, and a league-leading 114 walks as the Yankees finished in second place, 7 games behind the Senators. The Athletics manager, Connie Mack, selected him to play right field in the first Major League Baseball All-Star Game held on July 6, 1933. At Comiskey Park in Chicago, he hit the first home run in the All-Star Game's history, a 2-run blast against Bill Hallahan during the 3rd inning, which helped the American League win the games 4-2. During the final game of the 1933 season, as a publicity stunt organized by his team, Ruth was called upon and pitched a complete game victory against the Red Sox, his final appearance as a pitcher. Despite unremarkable pitching numbers, Ruth had a 5-0 record in 5 games for the Yankees, raising his career total to 94-46. In 1934, Ruth played in his last full season with the Yankees. By this time, years of high living were starting to catch up with him. His conditioning deteriorated to the point that he could no longer field or run. He accepted a pay cut to $35,000 from Rupert, but he was still the highest paid player in the major leagues. He could still handle a bat, recording a .288 batting average with 22 home runs. However, Raisler described these statistics as merely mortal. By Ruth's previous standards, Ruth was selected to the American League All-Star team for the 2nd consecutive year. Even though he was in the twilight of his career during the game, New York Giants pitcher Carl Hubbell struck out Ruth and 4 other future Hall of Famers consecutively. The Yankees finished second again, 7 games behind the Tigers. The Boston Braves in 1935. By this time, Ruth knew he was nearly finished as a player. He desired to remain in baseball as a manager, and he was often spoken of as a possible candidate as managerial jobs opened up. But in 1932, when he was mentioned as a contender for the Red Sox position, Ruth stated that he was not yet ready to leave the field. There were rumors that Ruth was a likely candidate each time when the Cleveland Indians, Cincinnati Reds, and Detroit Tigers were looking for a manager, but nothing came of them. In early 1934 season, Ruth openly campaigned to become the Yankees manager. However, the Yankee job was never a serious possibility. Rupert always supported McCarthy, who would remain in his position for another 12 seasons. The relationship between Ruth and McCarthy had been lukewarm at best, and Ruth's managerial ambitions further chilled their interpersonal relations. By the end of the season, Ruth hinted that he would retire unless Rupert named him manager of the Yankees. When the time came, Rupert wanted Ruth to leave the team without drama or hard feelings. During the 1934-35 off-season, Ruth circled the world with his wife. The trip included a barnstorming tour of the Far East. At his final stop in the United Kingdom before returning home, Ruth was introduced to cricket by Australian player Alan Fairfax. And after having a little luck in cricket's stance, he stood as a baseball batter and launched some massive shots around the field, destroying the bat in the process. Although Fairfax regretted that he could not have the time to make Ruth a cricket player, Ruth had lost any interest in such a career upon learning that the best batsmen only made about $40 per week. Oh my. So Ruth played in a third game of the Pittsburgh series on May 25, 1935, and added one more tale to his playing legend. Ruth went 4 for 4, including 3 home runs, though the Braves lost the game 11-7. The last 2 were off Ruth's old Cubs nemesis, Guy Bush. The final home run, both of the game and of Ruth's career, sailed out of the park over the right field upper deck at the first time anyone had hit a fair ball completely out of Forbes Field. Ruth was urged to make this his last game, but he had given his word to Fuchs and played in Cincinnati and Philadelphia. The first game of the doubleheader in Philadelphia, the Braves lost both, was his final major league appearance. Ruth retired on June 2nd after an argument with Fuchs. He finished 1935 with a 181 average, easily his worst as a full-time position player, in the final of his six of his 714 home runs. The Braves, 10-27, when Ruth left, finished 38 and 115 at .248, the worst winning percentage in modern National League history. Insolvent like his team, Fuchs gave up control of the Braves before the end of the season, and the National League took over the franchise at the end of the year. Of the 5 members in the inaugural class of the Baseball Hall of Fame, in 1936, Ty Cobb, Honus Wagner, Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, and Ruth himself, only Ruth was not given an offer to manage a baseball team. As far as his retirement, although Fuchs had given Ruth his unconditional release, no major league team expressed an interest in hiring him in any capacity. Ruth still hoped to be hired as a manager if he could not play anymore, but only one managerial position, Cleveland, became available between Ruth's retirement and the end of the 1937 season. Asked if he had considered Ruth for the job, Indians owner Alva Bradley replied negatively. Team owners and general managers assessed Ruth's flamboyant personal habits as a reason to exclude him from a managerial job. Barrows said of him, "How can he manage other men when he can't even manage himself?" Premier believed Ruth was unfairly treated and never being given an opportunity to manage a major league club. The author believed that there was not necessarily a relationship between personal conduct and managerial success, noting that John McGraw, Billy Martin, and Bobby Valentine were winners despite character flaws. Ruth played much golf, and in a few exhibition baseball games where he demonstrated a continuing ability to draw crowds. This appeal contributed to the Dodgers hiring him as a first base coach in 1938. When Ruth was hired, Brooklyn general manager Larry McPhail made it clear that Ruth would not be considered for the manager's job as expected. Burley Grimes retired at the end of the season, although much was said about what Ruth could teach the younger players. In practice, his duties were to appear on the field in uniform and encourage base runners. He was not called upon to relay signs. In August, shortly before the baseball rosters expanded, Ruth sought an opportunity to return as an active player in a pinch hitting role. Ruth often took batting practice before games and felt he could take on the limited role. Grimes denied his request, citing Ruth's poor vision in his right eye, his inability to run the bases, and the risk of injury to Ruth. Ruth got along well with everyone except team captain Leo DeRocha, who was hired as Grimes' replacement at the end of the season. Ruth then left his job at first base coach and would never again work in any capacity in the game of baseball. On July 4th, 1939, Ruth spoke on Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day at Yankee Stadium as a member of the 1927 Yankees, and a sellout crowd turned out to honor the first baseman, who was forced to premature retirement by ALS, which would kill him 2 years later. Next week, Ruth went to Cooperstown, New York for the formal opening of the Baseball Hall of Fame. 3 years earlier, he was one of the first 5 players elected to the Hall. As radio broadcasts of baseball games became popular, Ruth sought a job in that field, arguing that his celebrity and knowledge of baseball would assure large audiences, but he received no offers. During World War II, he made many personal appearances to advance the war efforts, including his last appearance as a player at Yankee Stadium in 1943 exhibition for the Army-Navy Relief Fund. Ruth started playing golf when he was 20 and continued playing the game throughout his life. His appearance at many New York courses drew spectators and headlines. Rye Golf Club was among the courses he played with teammate Lynn Larry. In June of 1933, with birdies on 3 holes, Ruth posted the best score. In retirement, he became one of the first celebrity golfers participating in charity tournaments, including one where he was pitted against Ty Cobb. As far as his personal life, Ruth met Helen Woodward, 1897 to 1929, by some accounts in a coffee shop in Boston, where she was a waitress. They married as teenagers on October 17, 1914, although Ruth later claimed to have been married to in Elkton, Maryland. Records show that they were married in St. Paul's Catholic Church in Ellicott City. They adopted a daughter, Dorothy, 1921 to 1989. In 1921, Ruth and Helen separated around 1925, reportedly because of Ruth's repeated infidelities and neglect. They appeared in public as a couple for the last time during the 1926 World Series. Helen died in January 1929 at the age of 31 in a fire in a house in Watertown, Massachusetts, owned by Edward Kinder, a dentist with whom she had been living as Mrs. Kinder, in her book, My Dad the Babe. Dorothy claimed that she was Ruth's biological child by a mistress named Juanita Jennings. In 1980, Juanita, who was at the time very ill, admitted this to Dorothy and Dorothy's sister Julia. On April 17, 1929, 3 months after the death of his first wife, Ruth remarried actress model Claire Merritt Hodgson, 1897 to 1976, and adopted her daughter Julia, 1916 to 2019. It was the second and final marriage for both parties. Claire, unlike Helen, was well-traveled and educated and put structure into Ruth's life, like Miller Huggins did for him on the field. By one account, Julia and Dorothy were, through no fault of their own, the reason for the 7-year rift in Ruth's relationship with teammate Lou Gehrig. Sometime in 1932, during a conversation that she assumed was private. Gehrig's mother remarked, "It's a shame Claire doesn't dress Dorothy as nicely as she dresses her own daughter." When the comment got back to Ruth, he angrily told Gehrig to tell his mother to go mind her own business. Gehrig in turn took offense at what he perceived as Ruth's comment about his mother. The two men reportedly never spoke off the field until they reconciled at Yankee Stadium on Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day, July 4, 1939, shortly after Gehrig's retirement from baseball. Although Ruth was married throughout most of his baseball career, when team co-owner Tillinguis Cap Houston asked him to tone down his lifestyle, Ruth replied, "I'll promise to go easier on drinking and to get to bed earlier, but not for you. $50,000 or $250,000 will give up women. They're too much fun." A detective that the Yankees hired to follow him one night in Chicago reported that Ruth had been with 6 women. Ping Bodie said that he was not Ruth's roommate while traveling. "I room with his suitcase." Before the start of the 1922 season, Ruth signed a 3-year contract at $52,000 per year with an option to renew for 2 additional years. His performance during the 1922 season had been disappointing, attributed in part with his drinking and late-night hours. After the end of the 1922 season, he was asked to sign a contract addendum with the morals clause. Ruth and Rupert signed it on November 11, 1922. It called for Ruth to abstain entirely from use of intoxicating liquors, and to not stay up later than 1 a.m. during the training and playing season without permission of the manager. Ruth was also enjoined from any action of misbehavior that would compromise his ability to play baseball. As far as cancer and his death, 1946 to 48. As early as the war years, doctors had cautioned Ruth to take better care of his health, and he grudgingly followed their advice, limiting his drinking and not going on proposed trip to support the troops in the South Pacific. In 1946, Ruth began experiencing severe pain over his left eye and had difficulty swallowing. In November 1946, he entered a French hospital in New York for tests, which revealed that he had an inoperable malignant tumor at the base of his skull and his neck. The malady was a lesion known as nasopharyngeal carcinoma or lymphoepithelioma. A physician who reviewed Ruth's autopsy in 1998 concluded that Ruth's lifelong use of tobacco probably played a part in his cancer. Around the time of developments in chemotherapy offered some hope for Ruth. The doctors had not told Ruth he had cancer because of his family's fear that he might do himself harm. They treated him with peroxyglutamatic, terpentrin, a folic acid derivative that may have been the first human subject. Ruth showed a dramatic improvement during the summer of 1947, so much that his case was presented by the doctors at a scientific meeting. Without using his name, he was able to travel around the country doing promotional work for Ford Motor Company and American Legion Baseball. He appeared again at another day in his honor of Yankee Stadium in September, but was not well enough to pitch in an old-timers game as he had hoped. The improvement was only a temporary remission, and by late 1947, Ruth was unable to help with the writing of his autobiography. On June 5, 1948, a gaunt and hollowed Ruth visited Yale University to donate a manuscript, The Babe Ruth Story, to its library. At Yale, he met with future President George H.W. Bush, who was the captain of the Yale baseball team. Ruth made one final trip on behalf of the American Legion Baseball. He then entered Memorial Hospital, where he would die. He was never told he had cancer. However, before his death, he surmised it. He was able to leave the hospital for a few short trips, including a final visit to Baltimore. On July 26, 1948, Ruth left the hospital to attend the premiere of the film The Babe Ruth Story. Shortly thereafter, he returned to the hospital for the final time. He was barely able to speak. Ruth's condition gradually grew worse, and only a few visitors were permitted to see him, one of whom was the National League president and future commissioner of baseball, Ford Frick. Ruth was so thin, it was unbelievable. He had been such a big man, and his arms were just skinny little bones, and his face was so haggard, Frick said in later years. Da, da, da. All right. As far as a memorial and museum, on April 19, 1949, the Yankees unveiled a granite monument in Ruth's honor in center field in Yankee Stadium. The monument was located in the field of play next to the flagpole and the tributes to Huggins, Gehrig, until the stadium was remodeled in 1974 to 75, which resulted in the outfield fences moving inward and enclosing the monuments from the playing field. This area is known thereafter as Monument Park. Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built, was replaced after the 2008 season with a new Yankee Stadium across the street from the old one. Monument Park was subsequently moved to the new venue behind the center field fence. Ruth's uniform number 3 has been retired by the Yankees, and he is one of 5 Yankees players. Uniform number 3 has been one of 5 Yankee players or managers to have granite monument within the stadium. In 1974, Ruth's birthplace in Baltimore was renovated and opened to the public as Babe Ruth Birthplace and Museum. The museum houses a collection of artifacts from Ruth's life, including some rare baseball cards and the earliest known signature of Ruth, from when he was still pitching in the schoolyard. Ruth's widow, Claire, his 2 daughters, Dorothy and Julia, and sisters Mimi, helped select and install the exhibits for the museum. As far as his legacy, Creamer describes Ruth as a unique figure in the social history of the United States. Thomas Barthel describes him as one of the first celebrity athletes. Numerous biographies have portrayed him as a larger-than-life, a dominant figure in a field where, whether within or outside sports, is often referred to as the Babe Ruth of that field. Similarly, Ruthian has come to mean sports colossal, dramatic, prodigious, magnificent, with great power. He was the first athlete to make more money from endorsements and other off-field activities than from his sports. So there you have it. Although but lengthily, the biography for Babe Ruth. Now, without further ado, we will go through all the stats for his Hall of Fame induction. Again, Ruth was an outfielder and a pitcher, born February 6, 1895, Baltimore, Maryland. He died August 16, 1948, at the age of 53 in New York City. He batted left through left. MLB debut July 11, 1914, for the Boston Red Sox. His last MLB appearance was May 30th, 1935, for the Boston Braves. His MLB statistics: his career batting average .342, career hits 2,873, home runs 714, runs batted in 2,214, win-loss record 94-46, earned run average 2.28, and 488 strikeouts. As a player, he played for the Boston Red Sox 1914-19, New York Yankees 1920-34, and Boston Braves 1935. As a coach for 1 year with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1938. Career highlights and awards: 2 times All-Star 1933 and 34, 7-time World Series champion 1915, 16, 18, 23, 27, 28, and 32. American League MVP 1923, American League batting champion 1924, 12 times American League home run leader 1918 to 21, 1923, 1924, 1926 through 31. 5 times American League RBI leader. 1919 to 21, 23, 26, and American League ERA leader. 1916. Pitched a combined no-hitter on June 23, 1917. New York Yankees number 3 retired. Monument Park honoree. Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. Major League Baseball All-Century Team. Major League Baseball All-Time Team. Other career achievements and records. He's a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame in the first induction year of 1936 with 95.1% on his first ballot. And there you have it, Babe Ruth's biography. Hopefully you enjoyed that, however, quite lengthy, but informative. So next we have up is our Babe Ruth binder. So let me move this out of the way so I have more room. Let me get this. Hold on a second. Let me, there it is. This one we want up here. Oh. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Alright. Let me get this up here real quick. Sorry. Wait, no. Yeah. Alright. So I'm gonna have to zoom out here. That's what it is. I was like, oh, come on. Oh, there you go. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna push this over here. First, I'm gonna take this out so I can show you the little Babe Ruth book here. This is an older book. Is a let me see if I can find a copyright in here somewhere. Dun, dun, dun. Rehab copyright. It's not listing the copyright. Usually they would have that here somewhere. I should have looked beforehand. It's Irv Dietz. Those were But as you can see, it's got some nice old pictures of Babe Ruth here. Who knows, some of these pictures might appear on baseball cards. I don't know for sure, but this is the Babe Ruth story, in case you're wondering. I'm going to set this here, and we're going to flip through the pages here so you can see. It is Allied Artists Productions presents Roy Del Ruth's The Babe Ruth Story. Does not give a year anywhere in here that I can see. But it shows William Bendix was playing Babe Ruth, Claire Trevor as Claire Hodgson. Okay. Then it has Charles Bickford as Brother Matthias, the priest. And then we've got the different other actors in this show. See, somewhere I thought maybe they'd have it. This lists the cast, the synopsis of it. Too small to read for me. They made it real small print. Alright. Then we got baseball hints by famous players. Babe Ruth in Hollywood. His batting record. Ruth's batting and pitching record in here. Action on the field, which is kind of nice there. Then we got highlights from the film, some behind the scenes shots where they were messing with Babe, or to make him look like Babe Ruth. And then the back here, Babe Ruth and William Bendix on location, the Babe Ruth story. Okay. Alright. Next, we're going to get into my Babe Ruth binder. Okay. There we go. I think I can get this to lay, yep, to lay flat there. Alright. Now this first one here I'm going to show you is a, I want to give you the right number here. I believe it's an 80, yes, it's an 80 card set. It's an 80 card set. And these are just all sepia. There's no color cards in here, in this one here. But these are just a small set of Babe Ruth. You can probably see them there. Hopefully the kids can kind of see them in the binder, somewhat sort of there, Titus. But again, these are what the backs look like. They do have all kinds of interesting facts and information in there. That's Babe as a golfer. This is when he was playing some cricket when he went on his trip. That's with the big supersized bat. And yeah, he was very much into athletics and stuff like that. Jai Lai, boxing, football. So they did have different things. I believe there's one in here, bowling. That's him holding a chimpanzee. I think I've seen it where they've made a card like that, a newer version. But yeah, another one here, golfing. Golfing with a bat. There he is, playing basketball, staying in shape during off season, what he used to do then. So yeah, he did act and play in vaudeville. So this was in 1924 when he did some stuff like that during the off season. That's where he's being sworn in by the National Guard. And I do have a relic. I do have a relic in this collection too, in case you're wondering. But he's got a handful of bats there. He's like he's playing a flute there with a bat. Alright. This is kind of like an insert card. Not part of this set, but it would fit into my collection there. And then this is a subset they had of 10 cards of career achievements, career batting average, career home runs, career RBIs, career ERA, American League MVP, American League batting champ, 7-time World Series champ, 12 times American League home run leader, number 3 retired by the Yankees. And this is the MLB All-Century team. Okay, and then these are quotable quotes, a small subset at the end part of that. And then this one here is a part of the Yankee Stadium seat. This is the wood. So back in the day they used to make the seats that had wood. So this is a wood piece from a bat, from a seat in Yankee Stadium. Boom. Boom, Ethan, you just got 10 entries in my June-July giveaway. Thank you there, Ethan. Ethan, you just got 10 more entries into my June-July giveaway. Thank you very much for that. Happy birthday, Donald. Thank you, Ethan. By the way, everybody, wish Ethan a happy birthday too. His birthday's this coming Friday. Ethan's is this coming Friday. Okay? Ethan's cards and more. But thank you, Ethan, for that super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Let me get your 10 entries down here as we continue going through this. Appreciate that, Ethan. You didn't have to do that. By the way, let me know what I owe you for that card from yesterday that I bought. Don't forget it, or just text it to me when you get a chance. That'd be fine. Okay. So then the rest I've got here are different. After the Yankee Stadium seat relic of Babe Ruth, that was pretty cool. We got this Babe Ruth card. We've got the Stadium Club. This is from a, which one is this? 2023 Top Stadium Club. I've got the base, I've got the black, and I've got the sepia. Base, black, and sepia. I kind of left some spaces there in case I get the other ones like the red one and different things like that. Alright, and then this next one is another set. I won't go through all of these, but I'll just turn the pages. I won't go and review all these, but I will show you the pages for this. I'm trying to just get to the end of this one here. And this is a, I believe it's a 200 card, or no, 160 card set. 163 card set. This is a 163 card set. Don, I keep breaking up. Oh, am I breaking up? Might be the heat. It's pretty warm here. Oh, but my computer's not too bad. I'll try and get through this here. You guys let me know. It looks fine halfway on my end, but I'm just going to go through these. I'm not going to go through all this and go over the cards in this one here. But trying to get it closed. Okay, so I'll just go through these real quick so you can see the pages real fast. This is a mega card set, 1992 Babe Ruth mega card set. Okay, there we go. I'll just go through these. Some of you people may have seen this set. M&M cards, thanks. What do we got here? Oh, only two thumbs up so far. I gotta do a refresh though. Let me do a refresh while I'm going through these pages quick. Then we're gonna get ready to end this stream pretty soon here. We're almost done. Don, you are frozen. Am I frozen? I'll keep going. Maybe if as long as I keep moving. Oh no. Did it end? No, okay, it's refreshing. Kind of see it because it doesn't show me as the stream ending on my streaming software. So maybe it'll still pop back in here, but I keep missing my pages here. Because then I do have, oh, skipping. Yeah, probably the heat. There we go. So we got through those right now. Alright. Probably, I got my fan on trying to cool things down, but it is pretty warm today. So now we've got a few Babe Ruth cards here. A Prism, a Heritage, another Heritage, Babe Ruth. So there's not many more in the binder per se. We do have this Babe Ruth from another Stadium Club. I believe that one's 2022. Yep, 2022. And then we've got a couple of Babe Ruths in here, an Optic, a Newer Tops, Archetypes, First Class, a couple Babe Ruths here. Then we've got the blueprints here, history of the game, of Babe Ruth there. And that is pretty much the extent of my Babe Ruth binder. But thank you for popping in, Ethan. Appreciate you, brother. Just thought it'd be neat to share my Babe Ruth binder here and show you what I do have. Not too much of individual, but it's when you put it into a binder and you can just sit through and read some of the backs of the cards and stuff. That's the fun of collecting, is reading what's on the cards, not just looking and seeing the cards. And I think I have this set. Sweet. Oh, no problem there, M&M cards. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the stream since it sounds like I'm cutting up and chopping up and stuff. Hopefully it loads up and does everything correctly once it's all done, and I don't lose that much in the overall process here. So I'm going to put this away, get this out of the way, and get my board here for the 2-minute warning, and we'll get this stream done here. I hear your voice, but the video is skipping. Okay. Thanks there, M&M. Yeah, I think it's the heat. It's kind of warm here today. It's 91 outside. So who knows? It's probably 94 inside my house. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to finish up here. I'm going to end like I usually do with the 2-minute warning at the end of the show and give you a chance to get free entries in my June-July giveaway. Okay, what do we got here? I'll do it right at 48. As soon as my computer says 3:48, I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, we'll get all this taken care of here. Okay. Tell you what, I know it's gonna be close, so oh, there we go. All right, 3:48. All you have to do is type hi, I'm here, present, I'm here at the 2-minute warning. Give me a little emoji wave or thumbs up or happy birthday or something like that. Okay, that's all you got to do to get into this. Chuck's here for two entries for Chuck. Chuck's got a 2 entries. Anybody else still here? We got Chuck here. Bernie H is here. Shouting out, saying have a great evening, Donald, everybody. Another great stream as always. Thank you there, Bernie. We get ready to end. Wait. Come on. End the 2-minute warning. In case the rest of you weren't in Ethan's channel last night, he pulled a 3,000 to 5,000 Wimby auto last night for someone. Oh my word, yeah, that's right. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I remember he got a Wimby auto. That was pretty cool. Alright, so we got Chuck, Bernie, Big Ray, Fate Family and Sports is here with a 2+. Okay. Present. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate you. Thanks for popping in for my Babe Ruth biography and celebrating my 66th birthday. Appreciate that. And again, Ethan, thanks for that $10 super chat. Was not necessary, but muchly appreciated for sure. Okay, so we do have 12:50. We got faith up, family and sports, and the 2-minute warning here, there, and everywhere. I got you. God is great. I figured you were probably busy with the kids. All right, so we got that. We got a tube there. All right, and we got Ethan down here for his 10 for his super chat. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much for showing up for my birthday stream. It's been fun. It's been real. I may or may not. We'll see. I'll try. I have a happy birthday, or in Japanese, Otanjobi Amereto Gozaimasu. Did I say that right, or pretty close? So you all take care, though. I'm planning to try to have a WhattNot. It's Don Blomdahl, HOF is my WhattNot channel. Don Blomdahl, HOF. Kind of almost like my YouTube channel. Don Blomdahl, HOF. But yeah. So other than that, y'all take care. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be doing Nolan Ryan, another superstar pitcher. Nolan Ryan is tomorrow. So until then, you all take care. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and we will see you around the channels. Bye for now. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, where are you at? Why are you not ending? Did it end? Did it end, or is it still going? I'm trying. Now it's not letting me end the stream. Did it end? Did it stop? Did it go? I don't know for sure. My end of stream button will not turn off. I don't know what this thing's doing. My timer is definitely done. Well, don't like to do that, but they gave me no choice.